Hey everyone, I've been wanting to make this video for a while now. You all probably know that Elmore Leonard is one of my favorite writers of all time. He left a huge impact on the crime genre. Literary critics even considered him transcending the genre, which I think is a controversial term. I'll get into that later. I want to break down some of his writing methods and things I've learned from him as a writer. And I want to explore just what makes his books so damn good. For those of you who don't know who Elmore Leonard is, he was a seriously prolific crime and western writer, born in 1925. He started out writing westerns, pulp fiction, pulp short stories, and western novels, such as 40 Lashes Less 1, Valdez is Coming, and The Bounty Hunters. His short story 310 to Yuma was turned into a very successful film that was then remade. If you go back and read some of his western stories from that time, they really hold up. Compared to other western stories of the time, they are fantastic. When the market started going away from westerns, Elmore Leonard switched into crime fiction.
I try and keep my words out of the novel because I don't want the reader to see me writing, to see me using writer words.
Wow, are those some sexy glasses? I mean, speaking of glasses, you may have noticed I have some new ones myself. And they're all thanks to GlassesUSA.com, one of the biggest eyewear retailers in the US. They offer thousands of eyeglasses and sunglasses such as Ray-Ban, Gucci, Oakley, and tons of a lot. The glasses started at only $39. So if you like the glasses I'm wearing in this video or the frames I'm about to show you, there's a really good exclusive offer for my subscribers in the links in the description down below. And when I was picking out glasses, I was a little insecure about, which ones I should get, which would fit my face. They actually have a quiz on their website where you can answer a few questions and it can give you some suggestions based on your face size and all of that, your proportions, everything. It only takes about a minute to take. Shopping online can be fun, but it can also be extremely overwhelming, especially with so many options. Really loved shopping for my new glasses with GlassesUSA.com. They offer some amazing tools to help you find your perfect pair. One of these tools is the AR Virtual Try-On. I actually used this to find all of my new frames and it was super helpful. Shopping online at GlassesUSA.com is a risk-free shopping experience with free shipping and returns and 100% money-back guarantee within 14 days. GlassesUSA.com is offering a super exclusive discount on top of the coupon discounts that they already have on the website. So again, click on the links in the top of the description box to get all the details. And once again, thank you GlassesUSA.com for sponsoring this video. All right, let's get back to it. One of his early successes was City Primeval. A lot of his novels take place in Detroit, swag, a lot of his early 70s books, but he also wrote a lot about Florida. One of my favorite books of his is called Maximum Bob. What I think differentiates Elmore Leonard from other crime fiction writers is his attention to detail, especially with dialogue. When you hear anyone talk about Elmore Leonard, they're talking about his dialogue. La Brava, for instance, is about a former Secret Service agent who is now taking photographs in southern Florida. Every character comes alive in his books, even the small ones. When you read his books, you can't help but feel like this was someone he actually met or knew or listened to. The details are so precise but so unique. It doesn't feel like something someone could come up with. I think Leonard has gotten his due, so to say, like in terms of criticism. Like the literary elite kind of regard him very highly. He has his own Library of America collection, which is usually a sign that the literary circles have evaluated someone. Several of his novels were turned into movies, like the book Out of Sight, which starred George Clooney and Jennifer Lopez. Rum Punch was adapted into Jackie Brown. Quentin Tarantino has spoken a lot about how inspired he was by Elmore Leonard. Tarantino has even purchased the rights to 40 Lashes Less 1, which is an early novel, or an early western by Elmore Leonard. Speaking of 40 Lashes Less 1, one of the greatest final lines in any book. You should definitely read it. So what makes Elmore Leonard's writing so incredible? First, we have to talk about the characters. He really draws from real life and is not afraid to explore all facets of people's existence. You'll find so many different types of characters. I mean, it's really a fantastic variety that he has in his books. You ever heard of the show Justified? Yeah, that's actually based on a series of novels and short stories from Elmore Leonard. The first of which was called Pronto. That was actually my entrance into Elmore Leonard, was Pronto. It's like if you took a cowboy from the 1800s and put him into modern day Miami, or modern for that time. I guess it was the 80s or 90s. But a lot of his protagonists are guys like Raylan, who are kind of surveying the world from a bit of an outdated perspective. Their kind of clash with the changing times. We always get to see different perspectives from the good guys and the bad guys. Sometimes you don't even know who the good guys or the bad guys are until later in the book. But you see the typical criminals, you see the typical good guys, and each side has their own sense of bumbling idiocy. You know, there's a lot of humor in these books. The bad guys almost all the time are at each other's throats, don't really know how to do the job. It's very realistic in that sense that the criminals can be pretty stupid, you know, just like the heroes. Next, let's talk about the prose. When you look at the first chapter of a book like La Brava, it's almost all dialogue. And the dialogue is so specific to each character. It's never hard to follow who's speaking. A lot is implied through the speakers themselves. They had come out of the hotel, the porch lined with empty metal chairs, walked through the lines of slow-moving traffic to the beach side of the street where Maurice's car was parked. La Brava was patient with the old man, but waiting, holding the car door open. He hoped this wasn't going to be a long story. They could be walking along the street. The old man always stopped when he wanted to tell something important. He'd stop in the doorway of Wolfie's on Collins Avenue, and people behind them would have to wait and hear about bust-out joints where you could get rolled in the old days, or how you could tell a bookie when everybody on the beach was wearing resort outfits. One of the best third-person limited writers. His perspective, he always writes in third-person limited perspective, and he's one of the best writers at it. You'll see a sentence, the way he can bring in point of view into the description is so brilliant. You can feel the character's language through third person, and that can be really hard to do, especially with third person. Elmore Leonard wrote like a ton of books. I do think at a certain point he started repeating himself, especially with regards to his protagonists. You have the stoic cowboy-esque guy who is like tough and is super cool, you know. But there is a ton of variety. You look at Touch, you look at Kill Shot. My favorite Elmore Leonard books are probably 40 Lashes Less One and Pronto. What I love about his westerns, and this goes along with his later crime work, is that he's really good at exploring the corruption and the levels of inequality and brutality, especially police brutality, that goes on in the system. Very usually about people who live on the fringes, who are outcasts in that society, people who are immigrants, people who are Native American, black people. I mean, there's so much variety in terms of his protagonists and what he is willing to look at in the typical genre. Yes, he's working within the genre elements, but his stories also are atypical of what you may see, especially like the less good stuff of that era. I mean, 40 Lashes Less One is an especially great look at the prison system, traditional Western values, racism, you know, white liberal approaches to racism. It's a really clever but also very funny book. From what I know, Elmore Leonard did not plot his novels, so I think the plots are the weakest. Quite a few really good ones that you have to get to the end. My enjoyment now is that you get to see kind of like the little tangents, the side roads, the quirky characters, the prose, the dialogue. Like, these are things that I really enjoy getting into the book. It's kind of how I feel with like Stephen King, you know. I don't expect a great ending from a Stephen King book. I don't expect I'm there for the ride, I'm there for the experience. He talks about, you know, he used to work at an ad agency, I think, early on in his career, and he'd get up at like 5 a.m. and he'd start writing, and he said he had to write before he even had coffee because the coffee would be a reward after writing for a little bit. Just an incredibly prolific, really fantastic writer. Even if you aren't into westerns, even if you're not into crime fiction, I do recommend checking him out. So heed my advice, check out Elmore Leonard. Let me know what your favorite Elmore Leonard books are, and yeah, I'll talk to you all later. I hope you are having a great day. Thank you again to GlassesUSA.com for sponsoring the video. Thank you for watching, and have a good one. Bye-bye.